Before we get into today's video, I just wanted to take a second to talk about Leadify. Leadify is a great platform that not only tracks your performance, but helps you with your team environment. You can go over here to practice servers. I use this all the time. You can create a practice server for your team to just try out nades on, or you can go into a practice match and use this server for a scrim server against other teams around your level. Also, you can go and see your previous matches where you have your aim and utility given an actual score, and if you want more in-depth detail on why that score was given to you, you can go through and check out these deeper stats. Hey everybody, welcome back to another video, and today I'm not going to be making the ultimate guide on rotations and how to rotate, but I'll be making a guide on how to do so. So the first thing about rotations is really what map are you playing and what spot on that map are you playing. So for example, let's say that you're a B player on Inferno. Now Inferno B is kind of similar to Mirage B, also Dust 2 B, and Vertigo B. 4 out of the 7 active duty maps all have a pretty similar setup when it comes to CT positions. You know, Inferno doesn't technically have a mid to hold, I mean top mid, but you're basically an A player at this point, so you don't have a mid player. But besides that, the CT setups are pretty much the same, and what I mean by that is you can have 2 B players play B, obviously, on all 4 of those maps, but in reality, all you really need is an opper, and you can have them solo the site. Now, Inferno, there is a bit of an exception. You do need to have at least 2 people, sometimes even 3 players here with you at the start, and you can throw utility where you try to fight for banana, right? You don't want to just immediately give it up and just have an opper posted there, as you would maybe on Dust 2 or Mirage or Vertigo, you know, where you can just put an opper there. Don't worry about it. You don't need a second player there, a third player there all around. But just to take banana control, or maybe at least hold this, and once you get here, you can either have your opper post up here, right? Or if, let's say, your A players are dying, then you can have your opper posted up here, and you can have them solo the B site. So what's important about knowing that somebody can solo the B site, and they can do it with a rifle. You can rifle solo a site on those 4 maps. And what's important about that is that you know that if there's you don't have to wait for bomb to be spotted on A to rotate over to A on these maps. If there's pressure, if there's presence, and it somewhat seems like it's going to be an A execute, or they need help, your teammate dies, whatever, right? That means that you can rotate over, and you can leave your teammate behind. Now, it also comes down to, are you the anchor, or are you the rotator? Now, in pugs, you're not going to really have this all defined. Even in league matches, it somewhat comes down to what gun somebody has. So it really comes down to where you're actually positioned. Not, nobody in a pug is going to be calling, hey, I'm going to be B rotator, you be B anchor this game, right? They're just saying, hey, I'm playing B. So it comes down to positioning. If you're right here, and then your teammate is here, and there's some pressure towards A, obviously the CT guy is going to rotate over. Now, let's make it a little bit more confusing. Let's say that your opper is here, and your rifler is back here. Now, usually you would want the opper to stay put and hold B because it's a lot more effective rather than having the rifle stay over, and then you would want the rifle to rotate over. But then, because the rifle is so much more far away and the opper is here, it really comes down to, does the opper feel comfortable rotating over into arch or library, where it's really not an op-friendly angle. So there's just communication, and when you get on a team, you can start to figure out what your teammates like doing, what they're comfortable with doing, or you could just play setups that better suit a rotate over. Now, again, this is all how B works on these 4 maps. Nuke, what are the other maps? Nuke, Ancient, and Overpass. Those are maps. Nuke, you don't really have a B player at the start. It's a weird map. Ancient, you need to have 2 B players. It's such an important part of the map. Same as Overpass, right? It's not super easy to rotate over. Now, on a map like Mirage, you can do partial rotates. Now, you can kind of do that on Inferno here. So, for example, if you're the opper, and you're here, and there's some pressure towards A, you can cheat over to A, by going back here, and you can still kind of hold. And then you can also cheat even more over to A and hold right here, where you're still pretty close to B. Here you have a quick rotate. So there's different steps that you can do to rotate over. Vertigo, it's a little bit more difficult to actually have those steps, but Mirage is like the ultimate partial rotate or cheating over kind of map, because you have so many different angles that you can hold. Just for example, let's say that you are in Apartments Mirage, then you can fall off to Market Mirage, right? Or Market B site, then you can fall over to, you know, Window or Nest outside a rat hole. You can go to Jungle, you can go, you know, there's so many different places that you can go to. Inferno is not really like that. Once you get into this middle area, you're stuck, right? You can only hold this, and it's not too good of an angle. It's not super flexible. So when it comes to the A site, because B is really far away, and you don't really have any cheat angles, you can't like jump through mid, you can't run up cat, you can't go through connector like you can on Mirage, right? You only have one way that you can go, or you can push down mid, right? So because it's so far away, and because B is notoriously difficult to retake, compared to maybe like an A site Mirage where it's a little bit easier to retake, it's honestly rotating from A to B. Your B players have to get at least 2 kills on the round, at least, hopefully 3, and then they die. So it would be a 3 versus 2 retake. Or your B players don't, like, maybe they get 1 kill or one of them dies, but then they're playing retake, right? They're staying behind this smoke, they're not pushing in, so you can have the easy map control, the quick rotate, where I'm going to assume that they have a CT smoke down, where you know that all of this is clear, and all you have to do is walk up here, and all of a sudden you're really ready for a retake. You're really close. If you don't have a teammate here, now you have to clear out all of these angles. It's really hard to clear out all of these angles, so it's really important that you know the situation. You understand where your teammates are positioned. What guns do you have? Do you guys even have kits? What utility do you have? There's a whole lot of different factors that go into Inferno rotating that don't go into Mirage rotating, because Inferno rotating, it's not like you're not going to be able to defend the site, okay? It's just retaking, and it comes down to, is it worth it to save, or is it worth it to attempt the retake and possibly lose all your weapons, right? Do you have economy built up? Are you down a lot of rounds, so you have to play more risky and you have to go for it? It's 2 to 7. You can't afford to save this. So there's a lot of different variables with that don't really come in Mirage. So since I kept talking about Mirage, I might as well show you what I'm saying. So on Inferno, when you're playing A and you have to rotate B, it's pretty difficult, right? Just because they can easily get bombed down. Now, if you're on Mirage and you're playing A and you need to rotate B, right? You can get up cat quickly, or somewhat quickly. You can go through, and when you get up cat, you can really just see all of sight, and you have so many different lines of sight that you can just hold or post on if you have an op, right? People need to cross this to get out. Crossing this line, right, is very important to playing a really nice post plant. Or you could go through market here, and even holding this cross, right, to cross the bench, really, really important. And then you can also grab the M4. You can also see the van jump out. You can get here. There's a lot of different angles where you can see a whole lot of stuff. And on B executes for Mirage, right, this smoke, okay, pretty standard to have a smoke there, but besides that, it's not standard to have a smoke deep cat. Maybe you have the arches smokes, but that allows the CTs to creep up behind it, right? So there's a whole lot of different things. It's really rare to see a market door smoke. Just in case you guys actually want to see how to smoke market door, this is 128 tick. You get to the trash cans here. It's right here, jump throw. All right, that's your market door. But it's really rare to see this, especially in pucks, to have a market door smoke. It's very effective, and it completely cuts off or shuts down the retake. But with Mirage, you will have a chance to rotate over, especially if you're playing window, right? And it's like, oh wait, they're coming out B. You will get to B, like right here, before they can get bomb down. So your rotate is a lot more effective. It's not an immediate retake. And then even more exemplified, if you're a B player and they start going towards A, right? Again, just like Inferno, B can be held by one person. So if you start hearing things towards A, your B anchor, or whoever's playing like apps or holding the walkout, can start to half cheat over and hold this angle, right? Cheat even more and hold like this. Obviously, you'd want to let your cat player know, or just entirely give it up and get towards A and let your cat player deal with the B retake, right? And because of that, if they start executing A, right, because the terrorists don't just go out on A site, they have to get up here, they have to get up here, clear all these angles, and then they're able to plant, and they probably don't immediately stick it. They're not running out with bomb in hand. They're trying to fight first. You have so much time to rotate over that it's not an immediate retake. It's just a rotate site defense, right? So you can still get to here before they've even planted the bomb. So the whole like trying to figure out if you need to save on Mirage is an entirely different ball game than it is on Inferno, where by the time you get over to A site or B site, bomb's already been planted for however many seconds, and then that's when you need to look at the economy, the rounds for, the rounds against, do you have kits, the util, the guns that you have, the man advantage, the man disadvantage. There's so many more variables on a map like Inferno than there is on a map like Mirage. And these are just things that you will learn from playing the game over and over and over again. At some point, you're going to realize the trend that, hey, Mirage, I can win a lot of these retakes or a lot of these rotate site defenses. But on Inferno, every time I get over there, bombs down, and unless the site players do a really good job at defending against the execute, the round's probably lost. So at some point, you will figure that out. I'm just trying to fast-track the knowledge. Vertigo is a bit similar to Inferno, where if the bomb's down on those maps, then it's kind of difficult to retake. Dust 2 B site is insanely difficult to retake. Dust 2 A site comes down to, you know, the who do you have there? Mirage is kind of alone in the whole you can rotate over and defend the site at the same time rather than you're always playing retake. So in conclusion, rotating is not a very black and white, cut and dry type of situation. In Counter-Strike, there's a whole lot of variables that go into it, a whole lot of different things that you need to consider before you go for the rotate or you decide to save, and it's something that you really have to get a feel for. So if you're actively thinking about it before you just immediately assume, oh, well, I'm playing A, they went B, I need to rotate to B. Before you just do that mindlessly, actually think about the situation. Is it worth it? Do my teammates have kits? Is this actually possible? Or are we just throwing guns away? So next time you're in a pug, use your brain. Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a good day, and I will see you all next time.